to Impact Wrestling 5 days removed from a No Surrender. Now, I gotta say this. No Surrender was a very good show. Way better and superior than a Elimination Chamber. You guys know this. But what did we get for this Impact? Was it a superior show to maybe Raw or NXT 2.0? Since I didn't look at either one or even check the highlights, I don't know. But I will say this. Comparing for the last couple of weeks, this was a better show than we normally see for Impact Wrestling. It was more better structured. Now, there were decisions here. You wonder where they're going to lead. And in many cases, like I always say, I'm leaving things out to see how they build up, and then I will comment on them later, if I don't forget. You never know what you're going to get with me, ladies and gentlemen. But if you know me and you love me, you know what you're going to get. And if you hear some noise in the background, I believe some people are working. They're fixing up their apartment. I think a new family moved in. They seem to be nice. Now, what did we get for the opening? We got the Heath and we got Moose. I'm not going to elaborate what Moose said. This is not about what Moose said about everyone else. This is about what Heath said. Now, I know people don't like Heath. They say he's nothing but a damn jobber. He's, again, as they don't want to let go of what Vince says, an ex-WWE guy. Let it go, guys. Let it go. Please. But was he sounding good? We don't normally hear Heath talk often. And I do believe because he doesn't really travel around to different promotions to really work on his craft. Because he's working for Impact. I don't think he's working with other promotions. If he was, he probably would get a little bit more out of it. Like what happened with Matt Cardona. Matt went off, went to different promotions, and really improved himself. And I don't know if Heath has done that. I don't think he has signed a contract that allows him to travel around. If he has, I don't know if he's really tried to improve or he hasn't started yet because he was injured for a whole year. He had an injury, so he couldn't travel. So, he wasn't bad. He makes it very clear that Honor No More screwed everybody up. Honor No More, he deserved better. Everyone deserved better. He couldn't do anything for a year. He was on the shelf. But he's back here now, and he wants to fight for Impact Wrestling. And he can't believe someone like Moose is joking around about it. That's generally what he said. And when Moose said, oh, when Honor No More was running roughshod for the last week or so, where were you? And he said, COVID protocols. Really? You bringing that up? I think they need to address it because not many people wondered, counting if anyone even cared. And I'm sure there's going to be a few comments saying, who cares about Heath? You should care. He's on the roster. And we need new blood in the mid-card, upper card, and main title. Care. I repeat it again. Care about who's there. Who cares if they were a jobber in another promotion? Build them up. If they have the ability, make them main eventers. Look what happened with EC3. Yes, he had incredible ability that is more than Heath. But he was considered nothing but a damn jobber to WWE. Flat out, that's the reason why they got rid of him. They didn't give a damn about him. They never gave him a chance. Give these guys who came in where you were considered a damn jobber, shut your mouth, and hope the company will give them something. Look what happened with Morrissey. Morrissey was always considered just muscle to Enzo Amore. He had no charisma, no ability. He just showed us something. Is he a great talker? No, but he does have something. And you should be happy about that. That they're doing something. Okay? Now, let's move on. First match of the night is a trash combat match. Oh my gosh. They must have went to e-waste. Because they collected on cell phones. They collected some keyboards. They collected some mouses. And they decided a Jordan Grace and a Matt Cardona have a match. Now, mind you, the one thing I was happy to see, because Matt in the last couple of matches they've had was holding back a bit. He was holding back a bit. Yes, he was acting rough with a Jordan Grace, But here he went more all out with Jordan to make her look good and to show that he was the champion, the digital media world champion. It wasn't a bad match, I will say. But again, as much as I love Mita Grace, and I will say this, she's a gorgeous woman, beautiful. But I don't think you ever want to piss off a Texas woman, because a Texan woman look like she's just no better than someone from New York or Brooklyn. They whoop your ass. Understand? You got women from Chicago, women from New York, women from Texas, and women from California. Those are the four general places where the women there can act crazy. Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from the Midwest or the East and anything, but if you don't know, New York has the most craziest women. When they're in the mood, they will whoop your ass. So with Chicago, now it looks like Texas is no different, because the look on her face, she looked like she was ready to eat a man alive by pulling off his flesh and just chewing on the damn thing. In the end, he won, which he's supposed to win, and I promote it. I would hope, and this is what I hope for, I would hope that, oh, it's overexposed. Sorry. As you can hear, they're working next door. I would hope that they do more segments in the back with a Matt Cardona with that digital media championship. I really want to see him just spread himself. He's an internet champion. Let him do something that would make the interest to the internet, like Twitter, like Instagram, like TikTok. Show it. He's more interesting than the influence. And let's go to the influence, shall we? Influence, dealing with the inspiration. Well, I take that back. Not the, well, yeah, the influence, more than the influence. Well, we got a moment with the inspiration, and here's where it's very interesting. It's not about Cass and Jess. It's not about Madison and Tennille. This is, weirdly enough, what the hell am I looking at, baby? We got this about Caleb. Caleb with a K. A guy who's still wearing a brace around his neck. Caleb. What? They're going to make a story around Caleb. Look, I'm not against Caleb Connery. I never been against Caleb. If you guys know that I did a Booking the Wrestler Impact Edition talking about Caleb turning into a very dangerous suicide. I did one. You can check just look for, I forgot which number it was, but I did do a suicide-based version of Booking the Wrestler, booking him like a monster. But it looks like someone in the back said, you know what, Caleb isn't doing anything, let's let him have a moment and have to decide between the influence and the inspiration. Really? All right, no problem. That's just how it is. I'm all right with that. The question's going to be, how are they going to book this for Caleb? Because the influence is getting a match at the, I don't remember what the name of the next pay-per-view is. You can tell me below, I just don't remember. But how are they going to do this? Will Caleb betray the influence for the inspiration? Will he just sit back and do nothing? That one group is treating him like crap. The other group is trying to control him and use him. So what is he going to do? I'm just saying. And now that we're into this silliness, let's go for the next part, shall we? Ziggy dies. Ziggy coming out in a bright orange jacket. Ooh. I think he's in my face when I do that. I got to, because that sucker makes you think of Michael. Just, it's orange. That is, again, a Michael Jackson. You know, weirdly enough, you wouldn't believe this. A lot of people, when I was very young, compared me to Michael because my voice was really high. It actually was higher than this. My voice has changed over the years. When I used to whistle with my throat, actually I did. I don't know how I didn't destroy my throat completely, but I used to whistle with my throat, not by my mouth. I know, weird. But Ziggy goes up against, and I knew when I saw Ziggy, I thought, no, it's got to be Jonah. There's no way they would just bring out Ziggy and put him over. They're not going to. It's going to be a burial. And I was right. Jonah's music hits, and within a few minutes, he is destroyed. And then Jonah comes, well, after he splashes him, after he defeats him, you got him dealing with a surprising that now giving a Gail Kim more of moments in. I think they mainly do this because of what happened with Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce. That's what I think the reason why Gail Kim is getting more time with Scott D'Amore. Because of Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville. Because they probably saw and said, you know what? They're getting this bit over about both of them working, doing different parts. Why don't we do it? And that's the reason why I think the reason she's been appearing more often. And I'm just saying it. And what does this lead? Jonah says, I'll stop hurting people after the match if you give me something to sink my teeth into. And he says, all right. We just got a whole bunch of new people there. BCO at Impact Plus. He said, fine, I'm fine with it. I want competition. And then we get the person that's in my face, a Jonah Swinger, saying, I want that ham and egg, daddy. I want him because what he did to me, tried to put me on a shelf permanently. I've been going out, I've been exercising. Yeah. He briefly talks about Ziggy Dice. And then he says, I want him. And Gail says, all right, you want him? Next week you got him. He says, yeah. So, two things. One, it could be one or two things. I take that back. It could be one or two things next week. One, you're going to see a total destruction again of a Johnny Swinger. Or two, and I might be calling it maybe, Johnny Swinger is going to be backed up by a Ziggy Dice. Because a lot of people want to see Ziggy with Johnny Swinger. I actually did an Impact booking the wrestler with Johnny Swinger, with Ziggy Dice, and involving Jim Cornette. And I truly believe that they're going there with Johnny Swinger and Ziggy Dice eventually. That's what I think is going to happen. I think. I can't be sure, but it looks like just mentioning him the way he did, you never know. Now, next. The Champ Challenge. Deonna Purrazzo versus Killer Frost. My Killer Frost. I know her name is Lady Frost, but I love to call her Killer Frost after DC. Because some of the let's be honest, Killer Frost in DC is not always depicted as a beautiful woman. They've had a couple of chances in animation, but she usually doesn't look great. But this is the Killer Frost I want. A gorgeous woman that'll freeze your bones and touch you and you'll... I knew when I saw this, I said, oh man, where is the extra people supposed to be coming in? Are they coming in Impact Plus where the Champ Challenge is going to happen? Unless it's going to happen next week, which I don't think so. Because I think we only got 9 days before the next Impact Plus show. So I'm not sure if it's going to happen. But this is what I think would happen. Now, Killer Frost did a decent job, but she still lost. And she went after the Deonna Championship. I believe that's how it's pronounced for AAA's women's title. I was thinking the ROH again, but at least this time they did use the AAA title, which actually made me happy because if you're holding two damn titles from two different promotions and you've only used one of them a lot, wouldn't it be better to use both, periodically switching between them, showing that AAA is thought about on Impact Wrestling? Because they barely do anything with AAA. I'm just saying. Deonna Purrazzo won. And then we had Shaw coming out. Walking right past a Deonna Purrazzo. I can see something coming. I can see something coming eventually. And I can see that ass getting whooped. Because I do not see that lovely Shaw winning a Deonna or ROH title. If they drop it to her, the way she's booked right now, that would be worse than having a Nia Jax come in and getting the damn title within about a week. And you know what? That kind of reminds me of somebody's. That's the influence who came in. Yes, they were loved, but they got no booking behind it. I'm just saying. Now, we had Mickie James We're speaking about, well, let's make this clear. Mickie James, Chelsea Green, and the Tasha Steeles with Sienna Evans in the background. With the Gail Kim. Again, Gail Kim is being brought into the forefront for the women's and doing some of the stuff for the men. Pretty much. At the next show, you're going to have Tasha versus a Chelsea. Who wins that will be going up against a Mickie James at the Impact Plus show. And the interaction, honestly, I still believe Tasha should have won. It wouldn't have hurt a Mickie James to drop it. Let Tasha win it for a couple of months to see how people gauge her. And if she's gauged pretty well, yes, I know they do head tapings. Don't think I don't know. Don't think I don't know. They do tapings. Those tapings could be weeks at a time. Yes. But if you're going to give her a month or two, which could be about a week or so tapings, every day or so they do some tapings, you can at least have her have that for 2 months. And by the end of the taping cycle, she could drop it back to Mickie James or Chelsea Green for that matter. But I do believe they could have tested her out as a short-term champion. I'm just saying. See how she would react. See how she'd be giving her promos. See how the Boricua badass would be, whatever. How she would react and how a Sienna Evans would be put away and allow a Tasha Steeles to go forward because there's always a Sienna Evans in the background. I'm just saying. Let's see. Anything else? Okay. This is where I really don't want to talk too much about Bullet Club. The Guerrillas of Destiny. God. We have on our hands, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit of preaching. We have on our hands, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest tag team that has been put on this green earth. A tag team that God himself has anointed as God. Even though they are being called the Guerrillas of Destiny, God has been on put. I couldn't keep a straight face. Look. Oh, those laughs just make you feel younger. Violence by Design wants their shot. They ain't getting it. Guerrillas of Destiny are mad because they've been kicked out of Bullet Club. They ain't getting what they want immediately. Hearing, weirdly enough, when you hear Jay White start talking about wanting to do business, but strictly business, you wonder, why would he be throwing hints about a team that is on NWA TV? Or is he going on NWA? Because he's working AEW, he's working Impact. Maybe he just did a little foreshadowing that he may go to NWA, or, which wouldn't make that much sense, that you have Tom Latimer and Chris Adonis show up on Impact TV. Now, I know you're going to say, oh, NWA guys. No, I don't think they're coming. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm fine. I eat crow. But maybe he just did a little bit of foreshadowing, kind of giving people, hey, I'm going to be possibly working with Strictly Business and NWA, or maybe they'll be brought here. I'm not saying which one. I'm just throwing out the hint before he got his ass beaten up by the Guerrillas of Destiny, along with Violence by Design. And then you see them staring at each other. I believe I'll give you a shot in my face. Maybe a possible team up of the Guerrillas of Destiny working with Violence by Design. You never know. Finally, the last match and the last thing I'm going to talk about before the Don't Blame Me, Blame You. That's not the title, but you get my point. You got Honor No More versus a Willie Mack, a Rick Swann, and a Chris Sabin. I saw the advertisement for Alex Shelley showing at the Impact Plus show going up against his own student Jay White. I will be very interested in seeing how Alex Shelley is going to be working on Impact. And I do not, and I want to repeat this right now before I talk about this 6-man tag. I do not want to see Shelley team back up with Sabin. I'm sorry. Yes, Motor City Machine Guns was a great team. I still believe they're great, but not now. I want to see Alex Shelley bust his butt to prove why he's interesting. Because he left either because he got sick, because of family problems, because of mental problems, whatever. He's been gone a long time. I want to see him be rebuilt, not just thrown back into a tag team immediately. I'm just saying. The six-man tag. Now, I got to be honest here. I saw a majority of it until I had to go to the bathroom, and I missed who won the match. My guess is Honor No More won. Because when they were done, after I came back from the bathroom, you see a Eddie Edwards come out. And that they wanted to kill him. Rhino wanted to eat him alive. Swan and Mac were ready to jump on him, and it's Scott who had to tell them, back off, you can't touch him. And they're demanding his head on a platter. And this is where it gets interesting. You see he gets into the ring. And everything he said was true. Let me say it again. Everything he said was true. Flat out true. He busted his butt for Impact. Look, you guys know how I felt. When Kenny came in, I was just as enthusiastic as everyone else. I used to watch it on Twitch. The numbers for the first time he appeared went to 53,000 people viewing it. Not talking about the show itself on Access TV and the app for Fight Network and the Fight app. There had to be a very good number once Kenny showed up. But I'm going to be honest to you, as I said before, nothing improved for Impact Wrestling. Nothing. Whether they said, no, we're not going to send any of our Impact stars over, or Tony Khan said no, or they both agreed to only send a certain amount from AEW and they don't need anyone from Impact, I don't care. They should have done cross-promotion and had Impact stars on AEW and AEW stars on Impact. It should have happened. The person that should have showed up on AEW TV that would have been very interesting would have been Eddie Edwards, along with Moose. No, he never did show up. Where was the thought about Eddie? Yes, Moose was doing the best work he's ever done when he was the TNA champ. And then when he gained the title, he's been doing great work, and he's still doing great work. Josh Alexander, and I know one of my, I think he's a subscriber, he says Josh is boring. Josh looks like he's from the 90s. Dude, whoever you are, every gimmick has been rehashed. You actually think every gimmick you ever seen that you love right now is the same, it's brand new, it's an old-ass gimmick. Josh is more like a Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle may have not been the most charismatic, but he was one of the best pro wrestlers. He knew how to make the crowd care. He wore the most simplest stuff, and he could barely talk. It's true. It's damn true. But he still got over. So get over it. You don't like Josh? Fine, but don't say because he's a piece of garbage. He's not. He's a general good pro wrestler that's easily upper card to near main event. That's it. If you don't like what I say, tough titty. Tough titty. I'm going to say it again. Tough titty. And if you still don't like it, you can kiss my black ass. Not to be rude to anyone, I'm not trying to be, but I'm being honest. The guy literally, this person who left a comment on one of my previous videos, saying simply that you didn't miss Josh Alexander because he's boring. He's sucks. And I said, no, he doesn't. You're just doing this because you want someone, because you're bored. And he tried to give me some lame ass excuses why he sucks. And it's dumb. Everything that Eddie is rehashing for everyone else. There's very rarely anything new that comes from any wrestler, female or male. Now back to the match. Back to Eddie. Eddie said clearly, I waited. I have been a good soldier for Impact Wrestling. I waited to see who was going to get the title. I was happy to see Kenny come in, and he won the title. And then Rich Swann, dropped the ball and could not get our title. Then Moose dropped the ball and didn't get our title. But then I beat Kenny in a match, which he did have a match with him. He did win. But you expected him to get a shot at that title because, like normal, if anyone does win a match or in some way against the world champion, they would start doing a program. They never did. Now, mind you, I didn't think about it because of how they were booking Josh and how they're booking a Christian Cage, and I didn't think of Eddie myself. So he wasn't lying. They put everyone else out and left him in the back. He was doing nothing. He was basically floating. If anybody remembers, I told you he was doing filler matches with Sami Callihan, who shouldn't have been floating either. They were floating because they had nothing for them to do. So fast forward now, he said, what happened with Honor No More, I didn't join them because I didn't love Impact. I did. It's just that Impact didn't love me. Management screwed up. The fans cared more about everybody else but me, so I'm done. The people you see in this ring with me, pretty much, they have been with me for years. I've known them in ROH. And yes, I was pissed as hell when ROH had to go on their hiatus. I was angry. All the work I did in ROH, because he was from ROH, he clearly was mad about it. And I think it was a little bit of truth in it because the way he was stuttering during the promo, not just because the crowd was booing him slightly, you could hear that he honestly was getting a bit emotional. He was. That was no joke, guys. I know you're going to say, oh, he's just bad when it comes to his promos. I've seen Eddie Edwards have the worst promos and have some of the best and in between. That was not a bad promo. He legitimately sounded upset about ROH. The rest of the promo he didn't botch, but when it came to ROH, he was botching his words to a certain extent because I think he honestly got a bit emotional. We still don't know ROH is coming back or not. They're supposed to, but we don't know yet. A few more months and we'll know if they come back in April. That's if they come back. And that's if they come back and give people real jobs because they may just only do what taping by taping basis is of their shows. That's what it is. No contracts. They're just going to pay you to come in, film you, and that's it. If that's what they do. Simply put, I left Impact because Impact left me. Don't blame me. Blame you. I don't know what title I'm going to use. I think maybe that. But then, when he was done, Alicia comes out. And he says, what are you doing here? And he says, look, this is wrong. You need to apologize to the people. You need to apologize to management. You need to apologize to the brothers and sisters we have in the back. And he says, really? He said, yes. Why are you out here? I thought we'd settled this. You're not supposed to be out here. And she said, I don't care. You settled it. I didn't. This is wrong. And he made it very clear. I did everything a good Impact wrestler is supposed to do. And she agreed. But she also said, and I quote, do you actually think Moose and Josh and Rich didn't have the right to get those shots? They did. Who do you think you are? They had the right to get the shots. And I know you wanted to be the next one, but you wasn't. So stop bitching and take it. And this is where I was kind of hoping there'll be a little return because when he said, there's people in my ring are my family, and Alicia says, what about me? She says, I don't know. Anyone who turns their back on me, not my family. I was kind of hoping as a work, for me personally, this is what I would have liked to see Impact had set up for a Eddie Edwards and an Alicia Edwards that in this situation, because let's say even though they don't show it, she comes out and she says, you have been an issue for months with this. This is wrong. You must not do this. And he says, these are my family now. And she says, oh, really? What about me? Does that make me not family anymore? And he says, well, where are the papers that you want me to sign? And she says, and she looks shocked and she takes it back. Like the picture I'm putting in my face where she's just disgusted with the situation. She does that look. And he says, again, so where are the papers? And she says, why are you bringing that up here? Well, you're saying that we're family. Why not bring up you want to divorce me? Wouldn't that have been even a more interesting twist if Eddie And you guys can tell me below what this would mean to you. The same thing goes on. Eddie says clearly that he had been a good soldier for Impact, but as he tried to do everything right, he gets passed multiple times by Scott and Impact Management. And the title didn't come back. The ones who did it failed. And again, with Honor No More coming in, making havoc, this is what we got. But wouldn't it have been interesting? Next to him saying, don't blame me, blame yourselves. I blame the fans and I blame management. Don't blame me. But on top of it, wouldn't it have been interesting while this is going on? They have a divorce settlement because Alicia got sick and tired of him being frustrated because he keeps getting passed and he keeps complaining to her. And it's frustrating her to the point where she can't take it. So he had papers in his hands and she said, sign them, I'm done. But now it's now been left out in the open. Not saying they're actually divorced. They're actually married and they have kids. But in the storyline, the only thing he had to do was just mention the papers. Doesn't mean he ever has to sign them. But Alicia looks at him like, what right do you have to say this? We're not in the back. He says, it doesn't matter. You're saying you're my family? Really? The only thing they could have done is that. And then the next night they could have had Eddie in the ring with Alicia again and pretty much elaborated on it and said, Eddie, you can't do this. You can't do this to Impact. You need to change back. And he says, really? Are you dropping the paperwork? Because I got it right here. You want me to sign this damn thing because you're sick and tired of hearing me piss, moaning, and all that garbage. All that shit. Are you going to drop this? Are you going to stop dating the guy that you're supposed to be dating right now outside of work? Are you going to do that? Are we going to be able to be with our children together? And that would have been even a more better moment than just this. Having not only him feeling 100% that Impact Wrestling Management and the fans turned against him and he blames them, but Alicia literally got sick and tired of his bitching and moaning for almost 2 years. That he doesn't get his shot, that he's in filler matches and filler feuds, and finally got sick of it, and she's telling him what to do, and he says, no, I'm still acting the way I am, and she serves him paperwork saying, sign this, I'm tired of you. They bring it to the forefront. Now, mind you, I know not everybody wants to see drama like that, but in this situation where you're doing this segment, doing the heart and soul of Impact Wrestling, you should freaking go balls deep with it and say the heart of Impact Wrestling, his heart is broken because his woman doesn't want to be with him and she's trying to divorce his ass. That is where I think they could have gone a step further and made it even more interesting. But that's just me, and I hope you enjoyed this Impact Wrestling review. Please give me a comment below, and I hope, I don't know if I'm going to do a Gump report this week because of all the stuff I've been doing. I did a lot of stuff this week, so I might do one, or I may just skip and do next week. Peace.